Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to another episode of
The Weigh-In.
The Weigh-In. So the title of today's episode is S.M.A.R.T.S, and it's an acronym, and it stands for Science, Math, Art, Research, Technology, Self.
Love it.
As I'm going through day to day, I'm a deep thinker. So I like to have earbuds in. I'm either listening to audiobook, I'm either listening to somebody's podcast, or I'm just listening to like binaural beats, which allow me to focus and allow me to think about different things. So I came up with this acronym SMART. And basically it's like, you know, the Infinity Gauntlet. Everybody knows the Infinity Gauntlet, you know, from Endgame. If you had to research a core amount of things that would encompass almost everything that you would need, it would be science, mathematics, art, but then you would have to do research. So which research is not something that you study, but it's a part of the apparatus, technology, and self. Under those 5 different things, like, you can pretty much get everything that you need out.
It covers it all.
Yes. Yeah. So science. Like you need to study science on some level. Like I always talk about, you need to understand the physics of the world that you're living in, and it's a little bit more intimate than actual physics. It means, you know, like if you're in business, then you need to study up more business and understand business as much as you can. If you work at a coffee shop, if the main thing that's, you know, in your life is your girlfriend, you need to understand social relationships. So you need to understand the physics, like how these things works. But science in general, you know, it encompasses chemistry. So like, you should at all times be trying to learn something about science in your day-to-day life. You know, like right now on the DARE, I'm doing a thesis on AI and consciousness, which is really hard subjects. And I had a little bit of a background, but right now I'm getting like a bigger background in it. But just doing this research, you know, is allowing me to expand, you know, like my consciousness, and this, you know, science irrefutable. Like you just need it. Same thing with mathematics. You know, like everybody doesn't have a favorite mathematician. You know, like Senior likes John von Neumann. Like, you know, like everybody doesn't have a favorite mathematician, but you need math in everyday life. Like I know people who can't do simple math. Blows my mind.
Oh yeah. Same with reading.
Like if the register stalls out, the cashier is froze. Like they just don't know what to do. They're like, you just gave me money, now I have to count it myself. Like, there's no mental calculation left. Like, there's a bunch of great books out there that will allow you to learn the tips and the tricks of, like, the human calculators, the guys that can just take 2 giant numbers and just, you know...
And find the divisional aspects of it and stuff. Yeah, like I'm blown away by that.
Yeah, you know, you need to learn math. Now, moving on to art. I feel like art, like, people are always going to say, like, by default, I listen to music. I'm into art. You know, I listen to this band,
so
I listen to that
rudimentary.
band, but it's just scratching the surface. You need to go to your local art gallery. You know, you need to go to your local museum, and you need to see these things. And you definitely need to go out of town and actually see, like, art from different places, see like architecture from different places, because all of these are going to reshape your perspective on life and allow you to see what was and what can be. And you need to hear the stories of great men and women who have went out and sacrificed to build things that are now still here today, maybe 100, you know, or 1,000 years later. I personally find that fascinating as just one small aspect of art.
Being an artist myself, I see things in a different way. Your brain is a supercomputer in many ways, right?
Yes.
So when you see a certain painting and it's designed a certain way and it has a certain subject matter, whatever it might be, that actually equals in scientific kind of like script writing or whatever, or like when somebody writes a code for a computer page. That piece equals this.
Yes.
So I think the human mind, the easiest thing for people to do, even if you can't read and can't do mathematics, is art actually allows them to sort of actually be able to grow in some ways. And it actually can light their fire, light their candle, so to speak. And allows them to understand science, mathematics.
I absolutely agree, because there's a mathematical precision that you need when you're doing certain art. when you're generating certain art. I definitely 100%.
Think about kids who grow up in grammar schools and high schools, and the states are always trying to take away the instruments, right? So they can't play instruments. Everything that an instrument does opens up, one of the four major senses. That opens up the ears, right?
Yeah.
And that creates kind of a lot of good alpha waves are created by when you hear things visually. You can get alpha waves through your eyes too, but music through the ears.
Yeah, and artists teach us how to see the world.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Like when you draw something from your brain that's a little bit unique and a little bit, unusual, you're allowing us to see through your lens. And maybe it's a lens that nobody's ever seen through before, and now somebody can look and be like, oh, this makes me think that I can do different things, or this allows me to see the world in a different way, and I can build upon that. Artists definitely allow you to see the world, or allow you to hear the world through their perspective, which is most of the time a different perspective than what you particularly have. And, you need that. You definitely need different perspective.
You really do. And think about it. Like, your brain is the supercomputer, let's say, right? Mm-hmm. Hypothetically speaking. And your eyes are like a direct connection, like on a keyboard.
Yeah.
So your eyes absorb the data, and it goes to the brain.
Yeah.
Your ears are another part of your keyboard. It absorbs the data and goes to your brain. When you're reading, it goes to your brain. The brain needs fuel. And everything that we're talking about in SMARTS is totally connected. Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to analyze the structure of what we need as a human being. The subject matter that you set up today, your topics are fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's quite a great way to actually approach what a lot of people actually fundamentally overlook.
Yeah, what they basically need. Now, it's one thing to see it, experience and view it, which all those things you need, but you need to do the deep research. You need to go. There's something magical about writing something down or typing something down that inculcates information a lot deeper. Maybe it's because you're adding a different aspect, the kinesthetic, actually writing something down or typing something down. But the research is crucial. I have a lot of information in my head, and and it comes out when I'm talking to people, and people are like, "Wow, how is your memory that good?" I don't read things just once and then retain it. I wish I had that power. Like, that's a power.
Well, I know you are a note taker also. You make notes a lot. I do that also.
I'm a huge note taker, and what I do is when I read a book, and then I re-go over that information. Correct. I re-go over the research.
So you're teaching yourself.
I am teaching myself. Like, you never stop learning. Like, everything that I do, incorporate it into a behavior. So once I keep going over this information, what happens is the hippocampus says, okay, this is important. So now we got to take this information that keeps coming in, repetitively, and put it into long-term storage memory. So now I'll always have access to it.
Yeah.
But
the knowledge you obtain, the way you do, the way you digest it, actually allows your brain to actually get refreshed all the time.
Yes.
Because you can't stagnate that.
Yeah, my brain is constantly being refreshed. I'm going over old information as I'm taking in new information. So in computer science terms, I'm at a 50-50 level. I'm using exploration and exploitation. So exploration is going out seeking new information that may allow you to have a potential benefit. Exploitation is taking the information that you already have and using it because you know it's useful. So, like, I'm pretty much at a 50-50 split with that. I'm always trying to get new information half the time, then I'm always trying to exploit the information that I have. So, like, I'm always a bit ahead of the curve because of that.
I totally notice that, too. When we have, like, just our basic conversations, when when you stop by and we talk and stuff, it's like, it's always a trip. And I love it because I absorb the knowledge also. And I love the way you're wired. I love the way you break things down and stuff. It's really kind of a straightforward approach, and I'm really impressed by it. It always dazzles me.
I appreciate that.
You're a great guy, and in general, but just because of the way you are and stuff, just makes you make my day that much better.
I appreciate that. So the next thing is technology. So technology's here, deal with it. You have to deal with it. But I want to be on the up and coming. Like, always, whatever's coming through that's new with technology, I don't want to be a Luddite. I want to come in and I want to know what's new. If it's blockchain, You know, if it's 5G technology, I want to know what's up and coming. I want to be prepared for it. I want to know how to use it. I do not want to be left behind the curve, like we talked about in a previous episode. Like, I always want to be on the new information. Even if there's like new social media stuff, there's certain social media that I will not get on. But even with the new social media stuff, I want to know how to use it, just in case I need to market, you know, or whatever.
You need to scratch the surface on just about everything.
Whatever project I have coming down the line, you know. Like, you have to be computer literate. Like, that, having that fluency and that literacy with technology, and technology is growing at an exponential rate all the time. You just need to stay in that lane. Like, you need to just hone in and always be connected at the pulse of the landscape with that, without a doubt.
A helpful thing I'd like to mention to a lot of people who might not actually dabble in every single new technology that comes out, you know, with the world of digital or streaming, whatever it might be, is you still need to actually get onto a regular computer and play around with an actual email or an internet.
Yes.
You got to learn to type, and you got to turn your typing into words, and you have to converse with people.
Yes.
As we know, a lot of people aren't talking verbally as they once did.
Yeah.
So they're either texting or whatever they might be. Well, there's a whole plethora of people who aren't texting because they don't know how to write.
Yes.
So, I mean, there is the technology where you can talk into your cell phone and it becomes a text message, right? That's helpful, and you can learn a little bit about writing from that.
That's the cheater way out.
It is, but it's better than not being there.
Yeah.
But I believe there's a boatload of people, a lot of Americans, and maybe a lot of people in general, that are actually feeling a little left behind because of the changes in technology. A lot of people can't converse even in conversation, let alone type.
Yeah, you have to be you have to be like me, model me, be a first adopter. Like, and I wasn't always a first adopter. I was like, what's this new shit? Facebook, got a MySpace. I with this. You have to adapt. You have to adapt, because like the technology is not gonna stop improving. You know, like we've moved past the Rubicon. Like, it's just gonna keep going. So, lastly, but not leastly, is self. Knowledge of self, as they say. Like, you need to understand the self, and that encompasses a lot of things. How to improve your brain function, what to eat, nutrition, how to improve your mind, you know, meditation, mindfulness, certain things you can eat, certain nootropics that you can take that allows your brain to be at a more fixed position. Physically, you know, weight training, the benefits of intermittent fasting, exercise, cardiovascular, anaerobic, aerobic, yoga, so many different things that you can use to push your body to the next level. You know, conversations, you know, how to negotiate, how to make better deals, like, you know, like what are the tools in the toolkit that allow you to navigate life, you know, like social dynamics, you know, reading social cues.
Everybody actually has the power to actually do a lot of the things that Julian's talking about. The thing is, don't feel that you, because of whatever your situation is, that you have limitations and you can't participate in this stuff. Because it's been proven that the brain will absorb more knowledge as you go on, even when you're older. It's not like you can't not get smarter and get better, but you have to give your brain the opportunity to learn how to grow that new knowledge.
You definitely need to see what your body can do. You definitely need to figure out how to hack your mind, how to hack your body. Like, you need to understand what are the limitations, what are the hard limitations, what are the soft limitations. And like, okay, this is where, you know, a hard stop point, and this we have a little wiggle room with. You know, once you start to develop these smarts, you will get smarter and you will get the success that you want in life. I see a lot of people, and I get a lot of people that come to me and they ask me like how I'm so successful in different things. And pretty much it's me sticking to this attitude of always with the smarts, you know, always learning about science, math, art, technology, doing the research, you know, and, you know, learning about myself to really tie everything in. And once you connect everything, then you become like that Aristotle Superman. Like, you just start to hit another level.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be the architect and the arbiter of your own life. You want to design and dictate who you are. You want to take control. Like, you want to be that person that's in the driver's seat and not being, you know, like, you don't want to live the Uber life where motherfuckers are taking you where you want to go, because you're really a slave. You want to be in control. So develop your smarts, people.
And be around good people.
Yes.
and let your brain absorb the knowledge you can give it. Don't just be all quiet. Don't sit in a little room by yourself and not talk to people. You need to engage life. God gave us everything. It's all there.
That's right.
Take it to the next level.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the weigh-in.
The weigh-in. Boom.
We got a little soulful and spiritual and shit.
Well, you know, sometimes a good discussion, a good conversation, not only is it good for the public, but, you know, I think it's good for us both also.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I absorb from you, you absorb from me. I think hopefully people will absorb from us in general.
No, they will.
Great show, my bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that was, everything turned out good. Everything.
Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a message that came in from Grover's Mill by telephone. Just one moment, please. At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead in a field east of the village of Grover's Mill. Their bodies burned and distorted beyond all possible recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just been informed that we have finally established communication with an eyewitness of the tragedy. Professor Pearson has been located at a farmhouse near Grover's Mill, where he has established an emergency observation post. As a scientist, he will give you his explanation of the calamity. The next voice you hear will be that of Professor Pearson, brought to you by direct wire. Professor Pearson.
Of the creatures in the rocket cylinder at Grover's Mill, I can give you no authoritative information, either as to their nature, their origin, or their purposes here on Earth. Of their destructive instrument, I might venture some conjectural explanation. For want of a better term, I shall refer to the mysterious weapon as a heat ray. It's all too evident that these creatures have scientific knowledge far in advance of our own.
So, like, you have all of these different movies, you know, from the mind of all these great writers and directors, and the aliens are opposition. Maybe not E.T., but like most of the movies that we see, the aliens are opposition. And there's already the psychology, and there's already the philosophy and the zeitgeist of alien abductions and all of that.
Well,
shit.
I think it's ingrained in our mind these days. So there's no chance
feel
of
the
it ever
aliens
happening.
are a threat.
Yeah, because it's been
built
created
into
that
pop
way.
culture and just regular social norms. That if a creature comes from a different planet,
It's gotta be bad.
It's got to be bad.
Yeah.
Only because, and maybe not only because, but definitely because they have a higher intelligence because they've mastered interplanetary,
and they were able to come here. Yeah, sure,
transportation.
sure.
You know,
Well, like you said, it's ingrained. It's because of fiction and mythology and everything else. It's been ingrained in our mind that anything that we don't understand has got to be inherently evil or bad.
it's got to
or
be
whatever it might
inherently
be.
evil or bad.
Like in all the films that you just mentioned, I don't think there's one of them in there where anybody really accepted anything. Like E.T., they're not really trying to kill him per se, but you get the impression that if they captured him, they probably would dissect him anyway.
Yeah. So going back to Arrival with Amy Adams,
Yep.
and like how she was trying to decipher the language of the aliens, which the aliens were trying to give us gifts. They were
Yes.
trying to make us understand time and human beings, their relevance to time. Like, they were trying to give us a gift, but we still inherently as human beings rejected it. You know, spoiler alert for a movie that's been out for, 4 or 5 years.
That's a Daily Earth still kind of a groove going on, too.
Great movie.
Yeah, it really is a good movie.